Hello, friends. It's good to see you all. I'm Margaret Norris with Home Moravian Church, and I imagine that you have watched a storm before. Sometimes storms can be fun to watch. My husband tells a story about when he was a boy, his mother could not find him during a storm. She looked everywhere in the house, and she could not find him until she saw only his feet, because at the window was a very long curtain. And he had put himself in between the curtain and the window, where he felt safe from the back and the front, and he could watch the storm. Sometimes storms are just scary. And there were two very big storms in November of 2020 that hit both Honduras and Nicaragua. And there was so much rainfall with those two storms that when you're thinking about an adult standing up, the water that fell from the sky would have come at least to their shoulders. That's a lot of water. I imagine you've also seen times when the water from a storm still needs a place to go. And so there's still puddles and places where the water's high. So that's what people in Honduras and Nicaragua have had to deal with. And as citizens of the world, we care about what happens to them. And as Moravians, since we have connections there with our brothers and sisters and churches there, we wanted to make sure that they had what they needed and that we could help, because what we like to do and what Jesus told us to do was to help each other and to love each other. One thing that the president of Honduras, Hernandez, said was, "No están solos." No one, they are not alone. And the goal has been for no one to feel left alone. And so we're going to learn more about this situation that happened with the storms and about the Moravian Church in that process. I'll see you soon.
In the month of November, Hurricanes Eta and Iota both slammed into the northeast coast of Nicaragua, causing heavy damage from winds and rains and the subsequent floods. This damage occurred not only in Nicaragua, but also in Honduras, just to the north. These two storms hit just 2 weeks apart from each other, both of them Category 4 hurricanes with top winds at over 150 miles an hour and as much as 60 inches of rain. And they both landed and came ashore almost within 15 miles of each other, again on Nicaragua's northeast coast. We have many Moravian congregations and brothers and sisters in both of these countries and were impacted by both of these storms. In Nicaragua, many of the 60,000 persons that were evacuated during the storms are now returning to see and assess what's left of their homes. Small towns such as Hallover, seen here in this video, were destroyed almost entirely, with scarcely a structure remaining intact. This is precisely where both of these hurricanes came ashore, and the steeple that you see here is all that is left of the Moravian Church in Hallover. In Honduras, shelters are beginning to empty as the rivers are now receding. Over 150 homes were completely destroyed, with more than 800 receiving significant damage. Roads and bridges were also washed out, hampering the delivery of needed food and supplies. In Nicaragua and Honduras, many of the farms that line the rivers and streams are now covered with over 2 feet of mud and sand. They have lost much of their rice crop for this year, and now is the critical time for planting beans. As a result, food insecurity will be a factor for some months to come. To date, the Moravian Board of World Mission here in North America has dispatched $41,000 to the 3 Moravian provinces in the region to help procure the needed food, clean water, and supplies. By the end of December, we will be distributing another $75,000. Here in this picture, you see some of the food that was purchased with that money being distributed to an elderly sister in Honduras. Recently, our partnership with Habitat for Humanity in Nicaragua has enabled us to accept 100 hygiene kits that include water purification filters that you see here in this picture. These were transported from Managua to Puerto Cabezas through our partnership with Mission Aviation Fellowship. MAF airplanes were also able to transport this shipment of materials from the Moravians in Managua. Pictured here are our Moravian brothers and sisters in Puerto Cabezas, happy to be receiving these wonderful gifts.